Alright, welcome back. It's time to start Chapter 4, Peacetime. So let's hop right into it. The road back home. As the carriage wheels clack on steady rhythm over the cobblestones, you watch the lands of Margra, rendered dry and desolate by ancient magic, sail by the window. You are back in your home province, but you are no longer the boy who left it by this very road 4 years ago. You return a nobleman and a judge. You are continuing the family trade. You have returned to serve at the province's prefecture. Your home, Anizote, is but a few hours away along this dusty road. The carriage is stuffy and hot from the sun, even with the thick blinders shut tight. It is a familiar heat, but you will now need to get used to it again. The heat weighs heavy on you, but it also reminds you of your childhood. You will see your family again soon. To pass the time before you return home, you read your father's most recent letter. Again and again, you carefully reread your father's uneasy words, steeling yourself for your first real job and the service that awaits. Dear Angelo, I anxiously await your return, my son. You are the third judge in our bloodline, the pride of our family. Yet these are hard times for a judge. By the Emperor's decree, Archduke Tarquinius Milanitis is no longer the overseer of Margra. The new overseer is the Emperor's own brother, Gaius Tempus. And now our province has been split by enmity and strife between the Archduke and the overseer. The nobles have split into two factions, and so too have the commoners. Some side with the Archduke, loyal to their liege and determined to follow the traditions of old. Yet many judges and officials are eager to side with Gaius Tempus as the new overseer. Compared to his brother Cornelius, he is less radical and more cautious, but he, too, speaks to transform the empire and bring the estates to peace. Yet other Archnians are outraged that Archduke Milanitis has been deposed. One among them is Dorius Aten, High Commander of Margra. Although Aten and his men are sworn to serve Gaius Tempus and follow his orders, it is no secret that his loyalty remains to the Archduke. While Gaius and the Archduke are at odds, there have been no open confrontation, yet. I fear their patience may one day run dry. As for the judges at the prefecture, every day we deal with more and more litigation between nobles and commoners. Yet there are no imperial laws that clearly formalize the rights of all three estates. Wisdom, honor, and conscience are every judge's best advisors these days. You made the choice to serve the law, and you will have your work cut out for you. You will answer directly to Prefect Augustine Elborn, a long-standing friend of the family. He needs strong allies now more than ever. With the support of people such as you and I, the prefect intends to alter the fate of our province. I am looking forward to seeing you back in Anizote, Angelo. You put the letter back in your pocket. The walls of Anizote have finally emerged on the horizon. A challenging job at the prefecture awaits you. But first, you are going home. Alright. You are back in your home province, but you are no longer the boy who left it by this very road 4 years ago. You return a nobleman and a judge. You are continuing the family trade. You have returned to serve at the province's prefecture. Okay. Oh, looks like Aten's gonna get in some trouble here. Possibly. Of course, we can experience true death. But I feel we're doing pretty good on that. I don't think we died once yet. So, we can become a noble by the sword, favored by the overseer. We can become the heir of the family. Ooh. Or the family falls apart. Well, that seems pretty bad, doesn't it? Here are some of our events that'll happen. Mother recovers. That's ominous. Occupation. Okay. I can see there's a lot going on in this chapter. which makes sense. I think this is the biggest chapter. Occupation screen is now available. I'll definitely check that out. But let's hit continue first here. Alright, before we get reading, let's check this occupation tab. So we have a career and a justice. Alright, so we're starting at 4 out of 10 for both of those. Homecoming. The carriage stops. The familiar gate. Your bedroom window. The same one you used to climb out of at night from time to time. The well-tended garden with its important soil. Oh, sure squeaking now. The delightful greenery. And mother's beloved violet irises. The porch you used to jump off of when you were little. You are home. You touch the handle of the front door and halt for a moment. It has been 4 years since you left for Eterna, but it feels like yesterday. The air inside is cool, as usual. Father cannot stand a stuffy room and insists on constantly airing out the house. You hear hurried footsteps coming from the direction of Father's study. Before you have time to take off your traveling cloak, you are crushed in Stephen's strong embrace. Your brother has grown taller and more broad-shouldered. When he detaches himself from you, you notice how harsh his features have become. He looks even more like grandfather now. You've grown so much over the last 4 years, Angelo. Just look at you. You left a low-born boy, but you've come back Sir Brante. I'm so glad you've joined us in the noble estate. He's quite nice now. Wasn't very nice back then. You respond by giving your brother a wrapped gift. Stephen unwraps it carefully. When he sees the sword, a boyish smile appears on his stern face. It's beautiful. What a wonderful gift, brother. Maybe I should start a collection. What do you think? There's no hurry, Stephen. And now let me have a look at the prefecture's new judge. Father approaches you, his hand extended. You shake it and wrap your arms around him. Father looks older. His back is hunched, and he squints. There are deeper lines around his mouth and silver threads in his dark hair and mustache. Taking a step back, Father examines you from head to toe. What fine posture. You had excellent teachers. I'm so proud you made it, son. Nathan comes out of the living room. Leaning on Nathan's arm, Mother comes out of the living room. My bad. You immediately see signs of the illness you read about in the letters from home. Her back is bent. Her hair is gray. A thin web of wrinkles covers her face, and her complexion has lost its color. She can barely stand unassisted. Nathan leads Mother to you. Slowly, very delicately, she embraces you. You press your face into her shoulder, breathing in the nearly forgotten, dearly beloved smell. Mother holds your shoulders and studies your face for a long time. You've been away so long, son. How you've grown. Just a short while ago, I was cradling you in my arms. You look so much like your father when he was your age, Sir Angelo Brante. Nathan approaches you next. Your younger brother is now as tall as you are, and his hair almost reaches his shoulders. But he is still the same lost look in his eye he had when he was a boy. That's pretty rough there, Nathan. And here's your ne'er-do-well little brother. He hasn't changed a bit or grown an inch after all this time. He couldn't get into the seminary, so he just hangs around. Nathan lets out a heavy sigh and awkwardly puts his arms around you. I'm glad to see you back, Angelo. Home just hasn't been the same without you. You hear a snort behind him. Everyone turns. At the top of the stairs stands Gloria, her arms across her chest. She is dressed as a man, in cutlets. Is that cutlets? No, it's cullets. A frock coat, and a necktie with a massive pin. The entire family waits for her to greet you. Stephen shakes his head disapprovingly. Your sister descends as if forcing herself to do it. A few steps away from you, Gloria stops and bows. Welcome to your home, Sir Brante. Her sister looks thinner and leaner than she used to. She has dark circles under her eyes, as though she has been sleeping too little or crying too much. Enough pleasantries. Come on in. The table is set. Lydia has prepared a veritable feast for you. For the first time in years, the entire family is together. You can finally spend some time with another member of the family today. So we can see how Mother is doing. Support Gloria. Ask Nathan some questions, or talk to Stephen. So I see Gloria and Stephen are in conflict. I would kind of like to get everyone as high as possible, and that means getting Gloria up to 3. So why don't we support Gloria? You find out what happened in your sister's life. Much to the chagrin of the nasty Stephen. At the table, you try and ask Gloria about her life, but your sister dodges your questions. I live, I suffer, I help around the house. I know my place, just like a low-born girl is supposed to. Then keep silent, Gloria. Your brother doesn't care about the affairs of commoners anymore. Instead, why don't you tell us of if you've made any useful acquaintances, Angelo? Our family would benefit from some good connections right now. You have to relate the 4 years you spent in Eterna. Only later that night, when the family is getting ready for bed, do you manage to have a conversation with your sister by the smoldering fireplace. You assure Gloria that your noble title will not become between you. She is still your sister. Gloria casts a wary glance at you. So your sword and title hasn't changed you after all? Giving in to her feelings at last, Gloria buries her face in your shoulder. You caress your sister's disheveled locks. I really hope you'll always be my brother, Angelo. Mother, Nathan, and I, we all seem to be unwanted in this house. Sir Robert spends all his time at work, so Stephen has been running the household. It's taken a heavy toll on Mother. I can see her losing her will to live, you know. At her age, she might pass away forever and not be reborn. She had to endure a lot before she met Sir Robert, and her illness is consuming her. All Stephen cares about is getting the family ennobled by the sword. He'd sacrifice anyone for it. I'm worried the first thing he's going to do is drive me out of the house so I won't taint the Brante family name with my origins. I'm just an obstacle to him, a hindrance. You know, Angelo, I'm not sure how much longer I can tolerate this injustice. Times are changing. If I'm lowborn, that doesn't mean I'm going to serve the nobles until my true death. All over the Empire, commoners are fighting for their rights. Gloria suddenly cuts herself short. For a long time you sit in silence, listening to the crackling fireplace. The Brante family is about to face some challenging times. Okay, +1 with Gloria. Before we start on this, why don't we look, see, oh, we got some more relations going on. Some people we haven't met yet. I won't look at those for now. See, Gloria's grown up. See, Nathan's grown up. Looking a little rough there, Nathan. Alright. First day of service. Your first service as a judge begins today. You get dressed early in the morning, donning a brand new jacket with a cravat and hat. It's an immaculate look, if you dare say so yourself. You head to the prefecture with Father. The prefecture moved recently. It now occupies a massive new building of white sandstone in the very center of Anazote. A stone statue looms above it, the sword of the younger twin, the divine law that directs worldly judgment. All legal disputes in the province are to be resolved here. You and Father walk up the marble stairs past the commoners, merchants, and lesser nobles, all petitioners and litigants, huddled by the pillars. Well now, my son, here you shall begin your service to the Empire, in the midst of the great struggle I told you about. If you don't mind a little advice, you will serve under Cyril Bourne. Follow my example and stay close to your superior. He is a human of great worth, and practically your relative. You walk past the courtroom and up to the second floor, where judges work in their offices and receive petitioners. The corridors are many and narrow, filled by the smell of old papers and the sounds of muffled, mumbling voices and secretaries and gendarmes running to and fro. Father guides you down a corridor that ends with a door to Sir Elborn's office. Angelo, it is time for you to stand before the prefect. Remember the friendship between our families. You knock and enter. The spacious oak-paneled office is not without decoration, yet its adornments are tasteful and elegant, rather than garish. The flag of Magra bearing the silver tree hangs on the wall. Behind an imposing desk sits Baron Augustine Elborn, surrounded by papers. His face wears a focused expression you recall from his visits in the past, although it is more wrinkled than you remember. He looks up, and his face comes to life. He rises and extends a hand to you. Why, young Angelo Brante, what a pleasure it is to see you again. I see your years at the capital have turned you into a stately young man. I was told you proved yourself quite capable at the college. The city of Anazote needs worthy judges who know their craft now more than ever. Allow me to welcome you into service for the good of the Empire. I'm sure you already know the basics of judicial work, serving at the prefecture. Serving at the prefecture, however, takes more than finding your way through our laws, although they are quite labyrinthian and contradictory. There's no denying that. Anywhere you look in our province, you will see friction between the estates. Old noble blood, new nobles, rich commoners, poor commoners, they all have their legal disputes. And we judges work here to make sure this pot never boils over. If we are too eager to follow the traditions of old and bow to noble privilege, the common estate will grow desperate and lose all hope for freedom. But if we openly side with the commoners, the nobles' ire will be quick and find us. And so, Judge Brante, I ask you to be wary and wise. Peace hangs by a thread in this province. Carefully consider every decision you make at court before rendering your verdict. But first, you need to get accustomed to your new position. You shall begin at once. The prefecture has already assigned you a number of legal proceedings to review and judge. Your office is ready and waiting for you, Sir Brante. The instructions are over. The work begins. You recognize your new office by the brass plate at the door reading Sir Angelo Brante, Judge. You find it rather cramped on the inside, yet still reasonably comfortable. The sturdy desk has all the stationery you need. Behind the desk is a large chair of carved wood, and in front of it are several smaller chairs of petitioners. Heavy curtains hang over the windows, worthy opponents for the morning light trying to shine in. There are papers on the desk already, including instructions, orders, rulings, and all sorts of other prefecture paperwork. You are about to begin when you hear a sudden knock on the door. The source of this disturbance turns out to be a stout, smartly dressed nobleman. He greets you with an elegant bow you would not have expected for such a sizable individual. Sir Brante, congratulations on your first day of service. Allow me to introduce myself, Judge Carlo Fockgraben, a humble servant of the law like yourself. It is my hope that we will become fast friends. And now, if I may, a word of warning to help your work progress smoothly. As a token of our future friendship, I am aware that Sir Elborn is your immediate superior. As a loyal servant of the Empire, you will, of course, take his words as your guide. Yet there is no reason to neglect all the other judges of the prefecture, all of whom are noblemen of great worth. Their guidance will most certainly aid you as a judge. It will be my pleasure, Sir Brante, to facilitate your introduction to the noble judges of the prefecture as soon as possible. I see glory in your future service to the Empire, yet it certainly cannot hurt to receive reassurance and support when you might need it most. I shall not detain you any longer, but if you wish to make some valuable connections, my office is right across from your own. Another elegant bow from the Judge Fockgraben, and the door closes. You are alone at your desk once again. The scorching sun is rising over the province behind the window. Today is an important day, the day when you are to take your first steps of your new profession. What will you focus on today? Okay, so you can prepared to deal with your first cases. We can get acquainted with the judges, or we can ask Father for advice. Well, this is unlocked, so that seems like a pretty good choice to me. Why don't we ask Father for advice? You go to your father to get an inside look at the prefecture's affair and see where he stands. Seems sensible. Kind of feel like it might be something I would do. For a while, you busy yourself with paperwork and upcoming cases, until you remember your father's office is right next to yours. He used to help you master the intricacies of imperial law at school. Perhaps you could benefit from his experience and guidance now. You shift the case folders aside and walk out of your office. Your father is in his office, standing at the window with a deeply pensive look. The subject of his thought is in his hand, a letter bearing the Archduke's seal. He turns around and pats you on the shoulder, then asks you about your meeting with Sir Brante. A few moments later, you ask him to give you some advice and fill you in on the situation at the prefecture. My son, you'd best be wary for now. Sir Brante will be watching you closely, but this is certainly understandable. The prefect's views have made his position rather tenuous. Only a handful of judges at the prefecture have sided with him fully. I am one of them. Yet even I would not dare draw the ire of those above us and risk our family's welfare. When a noble and a commoner clash in the courtroom these days, the court almost always sides with the noble, no matter the circumstances. Even if the commoner is wealthy, the courts are not on his side. The judges rely upon the rule of law, if and only if both parties hail from the common estate. Well, that's no good, Father. Sir Brante aims to change this, little by little. He is eager to ensure the imperial laws applies to all three estates in equal measure. But there are many who oppose him. The Archduke Melanitis and his loyal Commander Otten, to our own fellow judges. Right now, Sir Brante enjoys the backing of Gaius Tempest, but the Imperial Overseer may abandon him at any moment. So here's my word of advice to you. Be careful. Help Sir Brante bring the nobles under Imperial law, but do not draw the ire of the other judges. Remember, more than just your career depends upon your verdicts. Even a single careless judge may be enough to bring our family into disfavor. It was wise of you to ask for my advice before rendering verdicts on your own. I'm sure you will be able to tackle any issue you might encounter. After all, we have prepared you for this ever since you were a child. Your discussion continues. Father shares his own experience of carefully siding with the common estate whenever possible, while properly respecting the privileges of the nobility. Even a partial victory in such a legal dispute comes as a great surprise to any commoner. Soon the vermilion rays of the setting sun fill Father's office. Your workday has come to an end. As you walk through the corridors with Father, you see the other judges watching you closely. There's a knowing look about them. Sir Fockgraben, your new acquaintance, is one of those judges. Sir Brante Sr., Sir Brante Jr., good evening to you. It is a joy to see a son following in his father's footsteps, both in and out of the courtroom, I assume. I still believe you would do well to take me up on my offer. A grown man needn't cling to his father's coattails, although the decision is yours, of course. What's it to you, Fockgraben? Fockgraben follows this with a courteous farewell and a nod. Father nods to him reservedly, keeping his emotions perfectly in check. Your first day at the prefecture has ended. A carriage is awaiting outside to take you back home. Okay, so it seems we would do well to balance these two as best we can. But we get a +1 to diplomacy, so we're 15 now, so we're getting pretty up there. You started your service at the prefecture of Margra. I will say, the world of this game is pretty interesting. It almost has like a medieval feel, but here we have like judges and laws almost like modern, so it's like a mix going on. Okay. A reception at the Brante residence. You come back home after a short stroll through the city. As soon as you set foot in the house, you are greeted by Stephen, who invites you to have a talk in Father's office. When you enter the room, Father has a heap of letters in front of him and is signing them one after another. Stephen and I must discuss an important matter with you. While you were in the capital, our family formally petitioned the overseer to grant us nobility of the sword. We have 3 generations of noble blood already. We have the right to make our nobility hereditary. Your grandfather took the first steps towards the nobility of the sword as soon as Stephen was born, and now we are on the brink of becoming the Brontes. If Overseer Gaius Tempest and the nobles of the province deem us worthy, we will receive a hereditary title. All nobles of the Brante family will remain noble forever, as will their descendants. Father and I do our utmost to maintain the family's position, but our goal can be reached only if our reputation remains unblemished in the eyes of high society. The nobility is watching our every step. Father lays a hand on your shoulder. Now this is your cause too. The future of our family depends on it. We need an estimable reputation. Estimable? Reputation and wealth. Everyone bearing the name of Brante affects it. Remember that with every action you take, Angelo. You will have to appear before Anizote High Society. We're going to host a reception for the nobility at our home soon. You must uphold the honor of our family, brother. You relate the news from Eterna to our guests and present yourself in a favorable light. With Stephen at the helm, the entire family spends a full week preparing for the majestic reception. The house is flooded with decorations of new tableware, delicacies, and cooking in the kitchen, round the clock. And the napkins now bear an embroidered oak, branch and chains, the Brante family crest. Gloria is the only one to neglect the common cause. Were it up to me, I wouldn't be seen at this hypocritical gathering, but I don't want to let Sir Robert down. He's the only reason I plan to stay for the event. The evening at the reception has come. Dignified conversations and the clinking of glasses filled the house. Among your guests are many highborn, powerful people. Your father and Stephen dance from guest to guest, making sure no one is overlooked. Young Angelo, how splendid to see you. So, what was your time at the capital like? You exchange pleasantries with the high-placed relative. Meanwhile, Gloria and Mother spend the evening on a settee by the wall without drawing any attention. Neither your father nor your elder brother introduce them to the noble guests. Still, one of the guests, a young nobleman of the sword named Jose El Pelletier, keeps staring at Gloria in fascination. Your sister averts her eyes, bemused. Lady Gloria, you are the true gem of the evening. You look so marvelously daring. I haven't seen your like even in the capital. When you walk past Gloria, you hear her hurried whisper. Angelo, please talk to me. This Sir El Pelletier keeps following me. I feel uneasy. What does he want from me? I'm just a lowly commoner. Come with me to the other side of the room, although I'll probably still stand out among all these refined nobles. Look, it's Durante, the painter. I wonder what's brought him so far from the capital. It would be fabulous if he could paint our family portrait. We should all be on canvas together. We're one big, happy family after all. Wine glass in hand, you cast a look across the crowded room. It is time to choose who you will... It is time to choose... I think that should be 2 O's there. Choose how you will spend the evening. So we can share the news from the capital. Present your mother and sister. Purchase a family portrait. Talk about your victory in the tournament, which we can't do because we didn't win. So, if we lose some wealth, we can get reputation and unity, and manipulation and eloquence. That seems pretty good. If we do this option, we'll lose reputation, which our reputation is already so low. Sharing the news seems pretty good, but it doesn't seem as good as this one. So why don't we persuade the renowned painter Durante to paint a portrait of the Brante family. And shoot a basketball while he's at it. The artist is scrutinizing the portrait of your grandfather on the wall of the sitting room. You will always remember grandfather like this. His heavy, searching look, his hawkish features, his imposing body, and the cane he kept in his hands at all times. As if by pure chance, you pass by Durante and mention that the portrait was painted by a local artist. But surely Sir Durante's skill must be incomparably greater. Would he be interested in painting a group portrait of the entire Brante family? At first, Durante politely declines. He must head back to the capital soon, and he has no time to spare for painting. But you remonstrate that you will pay any price, and his work will be seen by the high society of Anazote. Durante eventually succumbs to your persuasion. You spend the night negotiating with the painter. A proper portrait will take a fair amount of time to paint, and Durante's prices are high. Convincing your family turns out to be just as challenging. Gloria will not pose in a dress or put her hair in a bun. Nathan almost has to be forced to cut his hair. Stephen insists that he must be drawn in the right of his father, with Gloria behind them. Eventually, you succeed in helping your family reach a consensus. The portrait is perfect. Your parents look dignified, hand in hand. Stephen stands proudly to their right. You, in your best attire, are to the left of them. Gloria brings some life to the painting with her unruly hair and daring outfit. Even Nathan seems to belong there. The portrait is proudly displayed above the fireplace in the sitting room. No one else in Margra has a portrait by Durante himself. This will emphasize our position. For once, Gloria agrees with her elder brother. At least on this canvas, we're all one family, whatever our estates may be. Okay. Not bad. And with that, as we listen to what sounds like arguing, I think I will go ahead and call it here. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I love you. Not really.